Welcome to Faith and Fire. Where we get a little closer to our faith. Rickruger, let's light it up. Oh, welcome to Faith and Fire. Come and take it higher, where we get a little closer. Lift our hearts from the fire. Through the struggle and the pain, we won't ever retire. Find your faith in the word, then we turn up the fire. Yeah, faith and fire, yeah, we taking you higher. Truth in every word, let it build that fire. From the trials to the truth, we rise up, inspire. Rickruger bring the message, now we light that fire. Faith, faith, fire. Stay in your faith, keep the fire. Welcome to Faith and Fire.
What if there was a song about Lost in Translation in the style of
now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. I used to believe that I don't even know what I believe now. Stay. Oh, I used to pray every night, hands tied, eyes closed. Now I just stare at the dark, feeling so cold. Words don't come, I don't feel that spark. Like I drifted away or I fell too far. People say just believe, they don't understand when your whole world's slipping out of your hands. I've been searching for a sign, I ain't seeing nothing. Trying to talk to the sky, but it don't say nothing. I remember them days, I could feel the light. Now it's silence every time that I cry at night. Got me wondering if I ever had it at all, or I lost my faith somewhere in the fall. Just pray. I've been drifting, I've been lost, I've been questioning it all. If you hear me, show me something. I'm still waiting on that call. I'm calling your name through the hurt, through the pain. Oh, I've been walking through rain, but I'm praying again. If I cry, will you listen? If I fall, will you lift me? Get lost in my way. Lord, forgive me and go. Voice in my head trying to pull me down, saying take this path, don't make a sound. But another voice keeps spinning me around, saying you too close, don't lose it now. I hit bottom, yeah, I finally broke down. Tears on the floor, I was lost, no sound. Whisper, God, if you there right now. First real prayer I done said in a while. Ain't no thunder, ain't no voice in the sky. Just a calm in my chest I can't deny. Like a spark in the dark, like a breath came back. Like a hand on my soul saying you on track. I ain't healed, I still question and doubt, but I feel something pulling me out. So I'm taking one step, I ain't running away. Even weak faith stronger than breaking away. He hears you. I believe.
Excuse me. Good morning. Welcome to Rick Ruger's Faith and Fire. I am indeed Rick Ruger. Happy Sunday. Good to see everybody in here. Good morning to Jim. Good morning to my godmother. I see Jaybird. What's going on? Thank you, Jaybird. Jaybird's actually the executive producer for Faith and Fire, for all the music and all everything that you hear. That includes the intro, the outro, most of the music that we play. So shouts out to Jaybird. We really appreciate you. You put in good work for us, man. I see Maj. I think I saw BDR. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody had a great week. My week was a little up and down. My daughter finally went home with the baby. So, amen. The baby went home. We made it through the surgery. It's one thing at a time, because if you worry about all of it at one time, I think you'll go crazy. So it's you got to take the micro steps. So what do you have in front of you at that moment? So the surgery seemed to have went well. We won't know until like a month or so just how well the surgery went. But with all of your prayers and all the the prayers and the good vibes and all of the support that you guys sent up, I would appreciate it if you just continued that, because it does appear to be working. I have all the faith in the world that he is okay. The surgery is, going to work. And at the same time, I also know God's will. May God's will be done no matter what. And we don't always understand that in the moment. But, I have all the faith in the world. And it's really, it has a lot to do with you guys and all the support that I received. It really makes you, it's really humbling. I know it was humbling for me to see all of the reactions and comments and, even people I didn't even know like that. So, yeah. So with that said, let's get into it a little bit here. So today, we're going to be talking about something that this is going to be super relatable, super important. And then I think it goes without saying that this topic here, if you really focus on this topic, it'll change how you view your interactions with people. And you'll know what I mean by that here in a minute. So today, we're going to be talking about trauma. We're going to be talking about trauma. We're going to be talking about healing from trauma, overcoming the past, the bad memories, and how to heal and moving forward. We're going to talk about what trauma is. We're going to talk about the lasting effects of trauma, how to spot trauma in other people. That's where I'm talking about. That's what I meant when I said it might change how you view your interactions with other people. Because when you learn to identify trauma, that's how it affects, because, oh, wait, they may be suffering from, or this may have happened to them, and it will affect the way you view others, but in a good way. We're going to talk about how trauma changes behavior. How does the healing begin from trauma? And, of course, how to overcome your past trauma and reclaim your future. Now, this topic today is super serious, and I want to show you guys something else here real quick. I want to. My brother Jim wrote a book on this very topic. Now, I don't know if I know that what I'm covering today will in some way line up with what he wrote in his book. But we didn't talk about this or anything. He wrote this book, and I know that he's been talking to me about trauma a lot. This is a book he needed to write. For y'all that don't know, my brother wrote a book and my brother got it published. My brother is an official published writer. What an accomplishment. He's like officially published. You can, matter of fact, look at this right here, guys. This is my brother's book. Okay? It's called Tell a Better Story. And then the subtitle is Break Free from the Lies Holding You Back and Become Who God Created You to Be. Now, this is going to be very similar to the stuff that we're talking about today. That's why I wanted to bring his book into the picture, into the fold here. There's the link for his book. Now, his book, you can get it on Kindle. I think I saw something. If you have a Kindle, you can get it immediately for a much discounted price. But I don't see where's the price here, Jim? I don't see what's going on.
Right there to the right, 14.
Oh, snap. All right, yeah. I'm not on Amazon a lot. My wife is the Amazon queen. Okay, I don't really go on here. So we're talking $14.99. But I think if you get it on the Kindle, there it is. You get it instantly for $6.99. Yeah, I see it now, Jim. I'm sorry. So my brother has made it a point to explore this topic, and I don't know, for lack of a better term, really deep dove into it. Pretty much an expert now in trauma and the effects of trauma, and obviously he wrote a book about it. So if you guys are like me, like most people, and have this trauma in your past, this might be a good read for you. I'm going to pick it up myself and I'm going to read it because I know that it's going. I have conversations with him. I know exactly where he's coming from with it, and he knows his stuff. You know what I mean? So we're gonna talk about it. Now, again, I haven't read the book, and I don't know how much overlapping this is going to do with that, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be some overlapping. Yeah, Lisa will get it for me. All right, so trauma is not a type of thing that's always visible. See, when the first stereotype that you think about with somebody that's suffering from a massive deep trauma is that they're angry, or they carry a certain characteristic that would coincide with that. Is, oh, look at, they're obviously angry all the time. Sure, there are those people. That is a form of it. But there's other people. What about the people who laugh the loudest but yet carry the most trauma? You know what I mean? They're hurting, but they're laughing. And then other people, yeah, they become angry. Some people become withdrawn. Some people become hyper independent. I'll do it myself. You ever meet these people?
That's me.
I'm married to one, okay? I'm married to one. I'll do it myself. Baby, let me have, I got it. Babe, you're carrying 19 bags. Let me just, I got it. Wait a second. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it becomes a thing. But I didn't realize that was a sign of trauma. See, my brother was the one that started highlighting stuff. I would talk to my brother, he'd be like, man, this happened. He'd be like, well, that's because of this kind of trauma. So remember in the beginning when I said that this may affect the way that you look at your interactions with people? That's my brother. So he knows by talking to you what kind of trauma you possibly may have suffered, So I would go to him and it's like, oh, can you believe that they said this and this happened? He'd be like, yeah, because they're this and that. And I'm like, wow. And then I would have to take a step back and kind of reevaluate what happened there. And it's all true. That's why I'm dying to read the book, because I know. Also, trauma, as we know, can lead to addiction. I mean, I would say that's one of the number one effects of massive trauma is self-medication. Other people become emotionally distant and just never love anything or anybody ever again. I mean, trauma is such a huge part of someone's life that has suffered it and not dealt with it. A lot of us think we dealt with it. We moved on, time has passed, it's just a memory for you. But see, that's just the thing, and that's what I've learned. It's not just a memory. Okay, it's there. It really happened, and it's still affecting you and how you interact with people every day. And I bet you didn't even know it. I know you didn't know it because I didn't even know it. Okay, but my brother, he could spot it and almost tell you what kind of trauma you suffered. Not the specific event, not a psyche. You know what I mean? But like the class of trauma. Oh, you must have had a family dynamic, or whatever it might be. But when you start to learn about trauma, you'll be able to spot this in other people too, and then you'll understand why they act a certain way or present themselves in a certain way. Trauma can come from about a million different things. It can come from abuse, neglect as a child. A lot of this stuff stems from when you were a child, but it doesn't have to. Some of us suffer trauma later in life, but a lot of us suffer it early in life, okay, me being one. So abuse, neglect, violence, like I think that would tie in with the abuse, like in so many children today and in the 80s. It can come from betrayals and addiction in your home. Maybe you grew up with an alcoholic mother or father. Maybe they had a toxic relationship. But there's other kind of traumas too, okay? Maybe you went to war. Maybe you're in the Army and you went to war. I mean, there's a lot of different traumas. Childhood instability can cause trauma. Many people survive trauma physically, but parts of us, we remain emotionally trapped in those moments. And I know it's true. And this is why I knew I had to give this topic today, because I find myself thinking about moments of my childhood and here's how I feel about it. I don't care who denies what. I know what I went through, and I know that in my bedroom and wherever the stuff was happening, the beatings and whatever, and all of that, the physical abuse that I suffered. People can deny whatever, and just because it was me and them in a room alone and they put hands and did whatever, God's seen all of it. You know what I mean? I seen it. I felt it. It doesn't matter to me now if they deny it. You see, before I would get all worked up. You're not justifying my trauma. You're not acknowledging my trauma. But then I started to realize, of course not. Because if they acknowledge my trauma, now they have to acknowledge that they're the ones that caused it. You see what I'm saying? So they distance themselves and they protect their peace. But I have come to find out that I no longer need them to acknowledge what they did to me, because the Lord knows. And now I'm going to use that to heal. So trauma is not just bad memories. When I sit and I reminisce, that memory, there's more to it than just that memory. Trauma is an emotional wound, and it overwhelms people's abilities to cope. That's why they start to self-medicate. It actually, listen, this is something I didn't know. And my brother and a few other outlets that I came across enlightened me to the fact that trauma can actually change your brain. See, isn't that what bipolar is? When you grow up in a certain atmosphere and your brain develops different, isn't that the actual term for people that really have bipolar disorder, it also changes your nervous system. And I think I suffer from this. I watched my mother suffer from this. Absolute nervous, just nervous about everything every single second of the day. Overthinking and just nervous about everything. It'll damage your ability to trust people. It'll damage your ability to sustain relationships currently and in the future. It will affect every aspect of what you try to do. Sometimes trauma is one major event, and sometimes it's just years of pain, repeating. So I'm the second one, although I do have moments that I can point to and say, well, that was traumatic. But for me, it's like a consistent pattern of physical abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, everything you can name. I was raised, my mother raised me like she hated me. So that has caused tremendous trauma within me. I'm sorry, but it has. I have to be truthful, okay? So let's get into the different kinds of traumas that there are. There's the acute trauma. So this is the trauma that's one major event. Maybe you had a car accident and lost somebody. Maybe there was some kind of assault, sexual assault, or you were robbed or something to that nature. Somebody you love passed away very suddenly in a traumatic way. Maybe there was a natural disaster. I know it's crazy, but this is what happens. This is the stuff that people live with and deal with. That's acute trauma. Now, but there's nothing cute about it. So now you have chronic trauma, which is repeat exposure to the trauma, repeat exposure to abuse, repeat exposure to neglect, domestic violence, poverty, addiction in your home. It's constant. It's a pattern. You grow up with it. Okay? I'm thinking I fall into that category right there. Then you have complex trauma, which is multiple traumatic events or experiences that happen over time, but especially in the childhood. And this often creates a fear of abandonment and emotional instability within the person, a difficulty in trusting people, identity struggles, and self-sabotage. I got to tell you, I like to change my answer. I think I'm a hybrid between chronic trauma and complex trauma. And I'm pretty sure that's not a place it's not a great place to be, okay? So those are the types of trauma. What are the lasting effects of trauma? Because now that we know trauma actually physically changes you, okay? People think trauma is only mental, but trauma affects your body too. Symptoms of that could include anxiety, panic attacks, depression, insomnia. So let me just stop. Okay, check. Exhaustion, chronic pain, digestive problems, and emotional numbness. I mean, it goes on and on and on. The list of what trauma can do to you physically is amazing. We think of it as a mental thing, an emotional thing. We never stop to think, this is affecting me physically. But it does. And I personally have been affected physically by trauma. I never understood that before. It's incredible to me at my age to just now, uncovering all of this. To me, they were just bad memories. I had a bad childhood. I was also one of these guys that said you can't use the past forever as an excuse. But I never dealt with the trauma. I just kind of stuffed it down and all those things. And then, of course, anytime I would bring it up, a lot of times it would get denied, or that didn't happen, or it would get minimized. Well, yeah, it happened. Not like you said, but it happened. Like, no, I remember what happened to me because it happened my entire life. Okay, so it can affect your body, but it definitely affects your emotional state. Okay, so it can cause fear. And what that means is that a person is constantly expecting danger. Now, danger can come in many forms. That doesn't mean you're constantly expecting Freddy Krueger to pop up in your dream or something like that. It could mean danger like the worst case scenario. The worst thing is always going to happen. Okay? It'll cause you to get into that mode, into that mindset, especially when things are going good. Then you can't enjoy when things are going good because you're waiting for the other shoe to drop, which you know is coming. And it's not always coming. But in your mind, it is. And so it affects the way you handle the when things are good. You see, trauma's affecting you. Even when nothing is going wrong, it's affecting you because you're expecting it to go wrong. The second thing it can cause is shame. They blame themselves for what happened. You can blame yourself for what happened in your life. I don't think I ever did blame myself because I was a child. Maybe as I got older, it's crazy because the same people that break you and then cause you to become who you are, then as you get older, you're completely out of control at this point, and they don't want to acknowledge how you got there, only that you're there, and it's all your fault. So it's a very frustrating situation. But I did get into this a little bit, blaming myself for everything. Sure, there's plenty of blame to go around, and I'm not an angel, okay? In case any of you guys were confused, okay? Especially you guys that know me, okay? I'm not an angel. The other thing it can cause is anger. I think this is a real one for a lot of people. Pain comes out in rage. You know, people are angry. The pain that they're suffering, it literally leaks out in rage. So when you're having interactions with people and you come across somebody who is emotionally out of control, these are the things that you can stop and say, oh, now you recognize the trauma. Okay, I'm dealing with somebody that's had a traumatic event in their life. I swear to God that will help you. Okay, that will help you to be more Christ-like. We haven't got there yet this is the fire portion. We haven't gotten to the faith portion, but I want to throw that out there. Okay? Once you start to understand someone else's trauma, you can navigate it differently and become more Christ-like. You're able now to deal with that person, and understand where they're coming from. Now you don't know the event, but you know there's been an event or multiple events, one of these traumas or all of them. It'll change how you interact with people. A couple other things that it can cause is distrust. Trauma will teach you that no one's safe. I suffered from that for a while until I started to meet other people who taught me and showed me that, you know what I mean, I can trust people. Everybody is not the person who hurts you, okay? Those people are those people, and these people are these people. When we start to act like everybody is unsafe because of your trauma, now you know you're acting out because of your trauma. Some people stop feeling altogether. They don't love anything. They don't love anybody. Depends on the trauma. Some people suffer unspeakable traumas, okay? Unspeakable traumas. Some of them, mostly when they're young. So whatever level of trauma you feel like you've been through, someone's been through 20 times worse. Now, that's not to minimize what you've been through. Don't get me wrong. But that's also a way that you can understand how all of this works. So it can change your behavior. When you have one of these traumas, it can definitely change your behavior. It can lead to addiction. Excuse me. It can lead to isolation, self-sabotage, which I did a lot. Especially when things were going good. Remember when I told you you start to feel like danger's coming and the other shoe's gonna drop? Well, you know what some people do? Some people like me back in the day, you know what we do? So things are going great, but we can't enjoy it because we're waiting for the other shoe to drop, but the other shoe's not dropping. So what do? We create an event, right? We self-sabotage. We create an event that now causes the other shoe to drop. I kid you not. And if you're being honest with yourself, you've probably done this. For yous that have suffered trauma, I'm saying. It can lead to toxic relationships. It can lead to overworking. I think oh, Lord, could there be one that describe me anymore? That's how you just put your head down, you go to work, and you just block everything out. But that's a trauma response. And I never knew that. I never knew that until recently. It can lead to you want to be a perfectionist in every aspect, makes it hard to work with you. It leads to aggression and avoidance. And I think we've all done all of those things. Oh, man, it's crazy, right? This whole topic is crazy. Some people suffer this trauma. I'm going to tell you, this is crazy to me, but it's real life. Some people suffer traumatic events and become extremely funny. Okay, they become comedic. When you listen, who's your favorite stand-up comedian? Do you know their life? It would be interesting for you stand-up comedy fans. I used to be a really big stand-up comedy guy. For you people that enjoy and consume stand-up comedy, who's your favorite comedian? And what is their life story? What have they been through? And I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, you're going to find some serious trauma. I mean, just look at Kevin Hart's life. I'll just throw him out there, Kevin Hart. Look at all of their lives. You're going to find that they've suffered some severe trauma. Some people go the other way. Instead of being funny, they become, hey, nothing's funny. Nothing's ever funny. They can become controlling, and they can also become distant. But how many of y'all knew that trauma could actually change your whole identity? Some survivors of trauma, they begin to believe I'm broken. I'm unlovable. I deserved it. And some of us feel like we'll never heal. To be honest with you, I'm a big person I'm a big person that believes that I'm big on, well, time will heal it. Time heals all wounds. Does it? So how do you spot trauma in other people? Because we've already established that trauma does not always look sad or overly aggressive. It can be constant joking. I think that's me. I think that was me in the workforce. I think that's me personally. I'm not a stand-up comedian, but I definitely crack a lot of stupid jokes to get through the day. I think so. And the so it's constant joking, and then it's anger, defensiveness, and silence, which I do all of these things. Isolation, overreacting, emotional shutdowns, addictions, and again with the extreme independence. Now I do a good majority of these. I mix in the constant joking with the anger. It's a real thing. So common signs, right, of trauma in some of the people that you're around is hypervigilance. This goes back to what I was saying. They're always thinking that something bad is coming. They're always alert. They're always tense. It's like my dog, always waiting for something bad to happen. They're, if you meet somebody that has trouble trusting, okay, they push everybody away. They push them away before they get hurt. It's a mechanism, all right? You know, before you get a chance to do what people always do to them, they're going to do it to you first. I know that you've all met people like this. Avoidance. People can avoid certain places. They can avoid people or conversations. Oh, no, I don't want to go there. Whatever. Oh, I can't be around them. Oh, yeah, I can't talk about that, man. That frustrates me. The next one is something I've struggled with. Self-destructive patterns. Repeat unhealthy choices, knowing it's going to hurt you. Remember, I went back to if the shoe's going to drop. Oh, no, it's not dropping. Now I'm going to create something. You know what I mean? Oh, it's going to drop. The other shoe's going to drop. See, that is, bro, I need help. You know what I mean? I need help. So, what are some responses to trauma? Fighting, aggression, anger. You want to control everything. I know my first response when I'm anywhere, okay? My first response is I want to punch them in the face. Whatever the situation is. I'm at the grocery store, and blase squad, I'll punch you in your face. Oh, we're in traffic, whatever. I will get out of this car, and I'll punch you in your face. Okay, that's always been my response because that's what I know. So that's the trauma that I suffered replaying itself through me. And that's when you have to, you see what I'm saying? You got to recognize that and break that chain. Don't allow that perpetual behavior, unhealthy behavior to continue. Some people, flight. They run away, they stay busy, they avoid emotions. I think that if we suffer enough trauma, we basically do all of these. We shut down emotionally. And some people, they go the other route. They please everybody. They say yes, yes, yes. They don't want to upset anybody because that's what's stemming from their trauma. Maybe they were told they were not good enough or whatever the case. So now they go out of their way and they're over the top. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. You ever met one of these people? Wait a minute, man. You're too nice. What are you doing? I know you have. You may be that person. Okay? You may be that person. So, why does the past still have power? Okay, it's been how many years? Now, when I talk on these topics, I speak from a personal standpoint. So, for me personally, it's been how many years? Why does it still have so much power? Because unhealed trauma repeats itself. People often recreate familiar pain because it feels normal. I know that sounds so weird, but if that's what you grew up with, then that's what your body feels comfortable. That's the atmosphere and environment that your body feels comfortable in. So, what is an example of that? Choosing a toxic partner. For you ladies, especially, you see a guy, he's bad news. You know what I mean? You may be attracted to him, but he has nothing going for him. No job. He's on the street doing, he's like a bad guy, criminal. And and then you choose to have a baby with him, right? So flip that around, guys. So you meet a girl, and she's a little, how we say, friendly, and there's a lot of red flags, right? But you choose anyway. You choose her anyway. So you could also do self-sabotaging success. I've done that my whole life. Soon as I'm headed for the finish line, I shoot myself in the foot. Distrusting healthy people and staying stuck in survival mode. Now, survival mode will tank you. And I know it sounds crazy because survival mode is literally all you're trying to do is survive. But if you are depending on just you to survive, that's another topic. Our brain, it learns survival. So like if you grew up in that atmosphere, that's the trauma has molded you in that way. Trauma will rewrite our survival instincts. Our brain will say, stay guarded, don't trust, don't feel, and protect yourself. It doesn't even matter if things could be going good, and this is still your mindset. Another thing we have to understand is that suppressed pain does not just disappear. This thing that I always say, time heals everything. Well, it doesn't, okay? That's just suppression. And the pain, it's still there because look at your interactions. Ignoring your pain is not going to heal it. Suppressed trauma often returns in the form of anger, anxiety, depression, addiction, physical symptoms, relationship problems. It'll always resurface. Even when you don't realize that it's resurfacing, it will do it. Catch up with the chat for a second. Yeah, Jim. Hyper independence, yep. Hey, Denise, I'm sorry that I have to say these things, but I have to be honest with myself and with everybody. I mean, if I'm going to be up here doing this, I can't come on here and be a phony. I have to be honest. All right, so how do we overcome the past? Number one, we have to acknowledge the pain, okay? It starts with honesty. I think everything starts with honesty. You can't heal from something that you refuse to admit even exists. Okay, I think most people can probably understand that. Many people spend years pretending, I'm fine, didn't affect me, I'm over it. But those hidden wounds, they still control your behavior. I have come to realize all of this. I spent 20 years thinking, I'm fine, I'm over it, it didn't affect me. And now I'm starting to realize that that's not the case, okay? So, step 2, just stop blaming yourself if that's something that you're doing. I know that a lot of women who suffer from certain sexual assaults, they do this. And they should not, because obviously they did nothing wrong. Many survivors carry guilt for things that weren't even their fault. And healing, it requires separating. It requires you to separate what happened to you when it happened to where you are now. It requires that separation. Pain is a part of your story, but it's not your identity. But this is easier said than done, is it not? So, number 3, you have to learn emotional processing. And what I mean by that is you need to learn how to do it in a healthy way, because it requires you to feel emotions, but to feel them safely. This includes therapy, journaling, songwriting, prayer, conversations with friends that you really trust enough to share your intimate trauma with. And now, if you have an intimate trauma, chances are you're probably not, you're going to have a problem with trust. Reflection, okay? And any healthy expression is a good way to emotionally process whatever the trauma is. So, what you have to do is build safe relationships. Healing often happens in a connection, okay? The trauma will isolate the person, but then the healing reconnects them, because then healthy people will listen, okay? They respect boundaries. They communicate honestly, provide stability, and encourage your growth. And that's what happens is you run into somebody like this, and they start to change or open up your emotional status. And I think that's when the Spirit of the Lord is working. I really do. Don't discount that. Don't discredit that, because I think the Lord is sending you someone to reach you. I'm sorry, I believe that. All right, the next thing is forgiving. All right. Now, I know I talk about this a lot, and this is really, really a tough category. You can forgive somebody without excusing the harm that they've caused you. It's not pretending that the pain is okay, but it's more like, I refuse to let this poison control my future. Like that sort of thing. I refuse to let it take me down. I'm going to let it go now. Sometimes forgiving someone is literally your freedom. It's your get out of jail free card. Open the doors to that emotional prison that the trauma has put you in. Next, you start to rebuild your identity. The trauma will tell you you're broken and damaged, and the healing will tell you you made it. You survived. Okay? You're not just what hurt you. You're not the things that broke you. And you're not the thing that you think failed you. Through all of that trauma, you can become wiser, stronger, more compassionate as you start to recognize the trauma in everybody, in other people. Okay? You can become more self-aware. That has happened. That has happened to me. You become more resilient. Just like I pointed out, the traumas that I suffered, just like I pointed out the behaviors that the trauma led to me, doing, I'm going to also point out that some of the healing that I have gone through has made me literally more self-aware, more compassionate, which I'm still working on, and definitely wiser, and definitely more resilient. I'm trying to be more compassionate as I spot the trauma in other people. And Jim, I love you for that, man, because you're the one that really started to open my eyes in that. Not just to focus on my trauma, but to focus on the trauma of others around me. That was really a beautiful thing, because that, in turn, opened my eyes to the way that this whole thing works. Okay? And that's what led to this today. I can't wait to read your book, because I want to see the connections between some of the stuff I'm saying and some of the stuff that you have in your book. But at any rate, you could create a new future from that point, okay? Because healing doesn't erase the past, okay? But healing is learning. The past is no longer something that's going to control you. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to be free. It's freedom from your past. The chat, these are others that remember too, Rick. There are others that remember too. Yeah, I know. I know. Um, Babe, can you give me some tea, please? Or some water or something? I find myself dehydrated. I wonder, is my sugar high?
I thought you had to say so.
Oh, excuse me, guys. I don't know. All right. So then, remember that your goal is freedom. It's not to be imprisoned by your past. The next thing is something that is what my brother taught me. It's what he opened my eyes to. Put it like that. Is the helping of others to heal. What people need most from you when they're suffering from trauma, is safety. They need your compassion. They need you to be there for them consistently so that they can build trust. Now they know they can go to you. They know you're somebody invested in their well-being. Understanding and patience. These are the things that people need when they are suffering from a traumatic event that they haven't dealt with, and you come across them. I'll tell you what they don't need is a lecture. Okay? They don't need suggestions on how to fix everything. It's hard not to do that because they're coming to you with their problems. You may consider them a friend. And so your first inclination might be, hey, well, what if you did this? Or what if you did that? Or you might launch into a lecture. Hey, if you would have never done this, then that would have never happened. Okay? And then another thing is they don't need judgment. They don't need you to come along and say, hey, man, the way you live or whatever. They don't need your judgment.
Yeah, see, you shouldn't judge me when I eat a bag of jelly beans.
Babe, I'm trying to be serious.
I was being serious.
So instead of telling them to get over it, you could say, I'm here for you if you need to talk. You're not alone. That sounds horrible, painful. I'm really sorry that you experienced that. You could tell them that healing does take time. Instead of telling them get over it. You know what I mean? At one point, you got to just get over it. The tough love. Tough love is overrated. I think tough love comes from trauma. Huh? How about that? I think tough love comes from trauma. So, at the end of all this, what do we tell ourselves? Trauma can shape a life, okay? But it doesn't have to define it. Your past may explain you, but it does not have to imprison you. Okay? Like, it may explain why you're the way you are in a lot of ways, but it doesn't have to be your prison. You don't have to live there forever. Because healing is possible. And healing doesn't happen overnight. Okay? And it doesn't happen perfectly. You don't heal up perfectly. And there's going to be setbacks. But people can rebuild. You can learn to trust again. You can find peace. You can find your identity. You can find purpose. And you can find joy. You can beat this. We can beat this. We can overcome. Scars are forever, right? I look at scars different. Some people look at a scar and they say, oh, you got cut. You know what I mean? Like something bad happened to you. But I look at a scar and say, I survived. I don't think about the event that caused the scar. I dwell on the healing that led to the scars. And I wear my scars proudly now. Okay? As should you. So, how does all this tie in spiritually? Okay? The Lord, Psalms 34, verse 18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. There are wounds people can see, and there's wounds that people hide. Okay? I think the Lord sees it all. And when you are feeling at your worst and your spirit is crushed, I promise you that that's when the Lord is with you. That's when the Spirit of the Lord is with you. Some people walk into a church smiling while they're silently carrying abuse and the betrayal, grief and rejection, addiction. Trauma leaves all kind of marks on our soul. Many people ask, why do I still hurt? Why can't I let it go? Why can't I? Why does the past still control me? The answer throughout Scripture is literally yes. Not only does Jesus heal bodies, but he heals hearts. He heals wounds, souls. And Jesus understands trauma. Many people think God could never understand my pain. I don't think I've ever said that. I don't think that's something I've ever said. But I think I can see how other people may say it. But Jesus experienced rejection, betrayal, abandonment, humiliation, violence, grief. So when you think that the Lord doesn't understand your pain or what you're going through, I have to tell you that is very incorrect. In fact, I would tell you that you don't know what the Lord went through. Okay? I would reverse that. Okay? Straight up. Like, you don't know what the Lord went through that day and the whole time he was here on earth. Isaiah 53 verse 3 says, he was despised and rejected by mankind, a man of sorrows and familiar with suffering. Jesus was betrayed by friends, mocked publicly, beaten, abandoned, and rejected by all the people he came to save. You know what? Can you imagine that? Trust me, he understands emotional pain.
I'll be back. I'm running to the store.
You going to the store?
Yeah. Love you.
I love you too, baby. Jesus experienced deep emotional distress. Okay? Luke 22, verse 44 tells us, and being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground. Jesus experienced overwhelming anguish before he even reached the cross. The Bible does not hide the emotional suffering. In fact, it acknowledges it honestly and fully. We know that trauma changes people. It affects your trust, your peace, and your relationships. Sometimes trauma can create fear, hypervigilance. This is not a new thing. See, that's why I love tying the two in. This is not a new thing. Elijah had a breakdown. How many of y'all know that? Even powerful people in Scripture struggled emotionally throughout the entire Bible. 1 Kings, verse 19 tells us, after a great victory, Elijah collapsed emotionally, and he said, I have had enough, Lord. He isolated himself. He became hopeless, and he wanted to die. That sounds like a lot of people today. That sounds like a lot of people today going through a lot of different stuff. But notice that God did not condemn Elijah. God fed him. God let him rest, spoke to him gently, and then restored him slowly. And who did he go on to become? Jesus heals the brokenhearted. Okay? Luke 4, verse 18. Jesus announces his mission. He has sent me to bind up to the brokenhearted. Jesus did not come to forgive sin. I'm sorry. He did not only come to forgive sin, but he came to restore broken hearts. He came to make people whole again, restore your soul. It's more than just salvation, people. It's more than being with God in the afterlife. As beautiful as that is, how about being with God in this life? Right? How about that? In Mark 5, verses 25 through 34, there was a woman that suffered 12 years. She was isolated, rejected, and just exhausted. But when she touched Jesus, Jesus didn't shame her. Jesus restored her dignity, healed her. This was the lady who, I think she had an issue where she was consistently hemorrhaging through her, so people, this woman was someone that people avoided. They felt like it was contagious. They avoided her like the plague. She was shunned from every public area. No, excuse me. Nobody wanted to do business with her or trade or anything. Her touching somebody would probably be an offense to get stoned or something. I mean, who knows? They would probably jail her. But when she touched Jesus, Jesus didn't react like that. We know that trauma often creates shame. Trauma whispers to you. You're nobody could love you. You're unworthy. You're broken beyond repair. And then Jesus comes and consistently restores people. You know what I mean? Like, the trauma will tell you one thing, and then here comes Jesus and just explode and just destroys the entire narrative. That's how powerful this stuff is. I know, because I felt it. Then you got the story of Jesus and the woman at the well, John 4. The woman had a relational trauma and shame. She was also isolated. Jesus did not expose her trauma to destroy her. He relived her truth in order to heal her, to restore her. Jesus will address your wounds with compassion and truth. And so when you encounter somebody and you identify the trauma that they're suffering, that's what I meant by be Christ-like in that moment. Be compassionate and understand the trauma that they've been through. And it will, 9 times out of 10, it'll change the entire interaction. So what does the Bible say about healing? Okay? Well, it tells us to bring our pain directly to God. So that's what I meant about the survival mode. Survival mode is you. You understand what I'm saying? You bring it to God, that's the best place to be. Because you on your own fighting this spiritual warfare that's all around us. That's crazy. That's like storming the beach at Normandy with no helmet, no guns, no weapons, and you're just walking out there with a pair of headphones on. You understand what I'm saying? That's the equivalent of that. Bring your pain to God, let him protect you, and Jesus will restore you. Matthew 12, verse 28. Come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. The healing begins when you stop pretending. God cannot heal something that we refuse to accept. Be real. Now, David, he was honest with God. David cried, he questioned, he grieved, he suffered. Psalm 13, verse 1 tells us, how long, Lord? will you forget me forever? The Bible teaches honest prayer. Healing is not denial. Healing is surrender. David prayed honestly to the Lord. You can't fake it to the Lord. Trauma will teach us lies. We know that. That you're worthless, that you're unsafe, and that things will never change. Romans 12, verse 2 says, be transformed by renewing of your mind. So healing requires replacing lies with truth. That's what God tells us. You are loved. You are not abandoned. Everyone is valuable. You are not what happened to you. And to fully heal, to fully get the effect, you have to let God into the hidden places. Most people try to bury the pain. But buried pain, it still controls your behavior. And that's exactly where I'm at. To a certain degree, that's exactly where I'm at. I'm telling you, no lies are told. Psalms 147, verse 3 says, he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Notice, God does not ignore wounds. He binds them. Healing is a process. He binds them to start the healing process. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the hardest teachings in Scripture. We've been over this a few times. We're going to go over it some more. Ephesians 4, 31 through 32. Get rid of all bitterness, forgiving each other just as Christ forgave you. Forgiving does not mean the abuse was okay. You're not saying you were wrong. It doesn't mean the betrayal is acceptable, okay? And it doesn't mean that my trust is immediately returned. What it does mean is I refuse to let your hatred poison my soul. I refuse to let your hatred poison my soul. Healing happens in community, and boy, does it ever. And I've been blessed with the greatest community on YouTube. Lord, I pray all the time, and I thank you for that. I don't know what I did to deserve it, but I was blessed with the most incredible community. And a lot of healing has started, or it's helped me in a lot of ways, put it like that. While the trauma isolates people, God created healing through connection. And that's when this community arrived. In order for us to fully understand the trauma, we should try to carry each other's burdens. Some people need counseling and prayer, support and accountability. Accountability is big because without accountability, we can't start the healing process. If we're not accountable for what we did, how can we bring it to the Lord? We haven't accepted the action yet. And the Lord is likely to reject that because you're not being honest. So why do some people stay stuck? Some people build identity around pain. Like they stay in it. Others, they let time pass by. But no, we're talking about the people who have the event, and now becomes their entire life, okay? Trauma becomes their personality, their defense system, for lack of a better word, their entire identity. But God never intended for your wounds to define who you are. There's a story in John 5 where Jesus asked a man, do you want to get well? That seems strange until you realize some people become comfortable in survival mode. Healing requires change. period. Okay? There could be no healing with no change. Some people have a fear of healing. I know, it's crazy. Sometimes people fear healing because pain became familiar. That's what their entire life became. But God wants freedom for you. Okay? Not lifelong captivity, dwelling in that stuff. So how do we actually heal? It's not something that's instant perfection. Although it would be great if it was, it's not. Even after salvation, okay, memories, they're still there. Once in a while they creep in. A trigger may happen. Okay? I'm not one to be, I don't know about the trigger thing. Some people really they become triggered. You got to understand healing is a journey. And biblical healing, well, it's going to take prayer. It's going to take a lot of truth. It's going to take community. You're going to have to renew your mind, okay? Honest confessions goes back to the truth, okay? Healthy boundaries. It's going to take time and surrender to the Lord. And it's going to take grace, which I don't really have. You know what I mean? I got to find it. So Jesus restores what trauma tried to destroy. All right? Trauma tries to steal your peace, your trust, your identity, your joy, and all of your hope. And then Jesus comes and says, "But," and he brings it right back to you. Okay? If that's not a beautiful thing, I really don't know what's more beautiful. I know that the other day I posted something, and it was a picture that I had created on ChatGPT, and it was me running from my past, and then it had like writing and text. It was like mistakes, and like it was kind of cool. And then my brother commented, Jesus will restore you in front of those people. He literally said this. That's why I was like, whoa, did you read my joint? Like, were you in my files, bro, for you to say that? You know what I mean? Because I was like, whoa, because I've been, I started working on this earlier in the week. And he said that to me, like, right after, I had put that in here. I was like, wait a minute. That's kind of weird. Okay? But it's not weird. Okay? Because the Lord works in mysterious ways. I mean, how many times have you heard that? Jesus will rebuild you in front of the people that broke you or tried to break you. Joel 2:25, I will restore you. I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten. Whoa. I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten. I need you to really hear that, guys. I need you to really hear that. Because Jesus is coming and he's going to restore all broken people. He'll restore your broken mind, a broken heart. And if you thought you had a broken future, well, guess what? If you put your trust in Jesus, you win like Flynn. Some wounds are invisible, okay? Some people wear their wounds quite obviously, others not so much. Some people have survived things that nobody even knows about. They didn't even tell anybody. I think that's very dangerous myself. I think that's a very dangerous way to handle it personally. But your trauma is not greater than God or God's power to heal, because the cross proves all of that. God sees suffering. God understands pain. God enters brokenness. Okay? God restores lives. He came to earth, manifested as a human. I think for a lot of reasons, not just to die on the cross for our sins and give us forever salvation, forever life. Not just that, but I think he came to fully understand every aspect of what it was to be human. Our Lord is a living God. He's a merciful, living God who will restore you, and that's the moral of everything that I'm trying to say today. I don't care how broken you think you are, God has healed worse. And that's not to minimize your pain, but rather to encourage you. That's to encourage your pain. If God has healed way worse than what you have been through, and I don't care what you've been through, there's people walking around with no arms, no legs, okay? And God has restored them emotionally, spiritually, every way possible. If you put your trust in the Lord, he will restore you. Doesn't matter. Your pain does not have to be wasted. God can heal you. Then you can use your story to help heal others. This message today, it was absolutely, it was absolutely personal. 100% personal. I hope that others are able to get something out of what I've been through. And I hope to be in a place where I can help get something out of what others have been through. I hope you guys have a great week. And God bless, man. I just man, this was heavy. This was a heavy session. Thank y'all for watching Faith and Fire. I'm Rick Ruger, and I will see you next week.
When the flames die down, let your face stay lit. When the world goes dark, don't you ever quit. Through the smoke, through the scars, through the fire, we walk by faith. We were built for the fire. Feel my living.
Some of you almost gave up this week.
Built for the fire.
But you didn't. That fire you feel,
Feel my living.
it's not there to break you. It's there to shape you.
Built for the fire. Stay grounded. Stay grounded. Stay burning. Till next time. Until burning. Stay burning. Till next time. Keep your faith. That your Father saw us through. Please like stay grounded.
Stay grounded.
Stay burning.
Stay burning.
Stay burning.
Until next time.
Till next time.
Keep your faith as you face life's fire. Stay grounded.